Hi everyone, welcome back to i-TUTOR IAS Academy Tamilnadu History NCERT series, World History. Today's topic is Geographical Discoveries, that is chapter 22. Okay, so why geographical discoveries important in world history? Because it's primarily during the 15th, 17th century of discovery fundamentally reshaped the world by connecting hemispheres, opening new trade routes, and initiating global colonization driven by the search for spice routes after 1453. Explorers like Columbus, the Americas, 1492, and Vasco da Gama in India, that is around 1498, and Magellan in navigation, that is around 15th century, mapped the globe. Okay, so in Indian history we discussed about Vasco da Gama's you know entry in Calicut, right? Like that is all about the geographical discoveries. And Christopher Columbus is one of the important explorers in geographical discoveries that is sailed for Spain, reaching the Bahamas and opening the Americas to European exploration and colonization. You can connect in this, world map in these places. You will available also from Google also, okay, and you will get more ideas. And Vasco da Gama around 1498 round the Cape of Good Hope to reach India established a direct sea route for Portugal that bypassed the Ottoman controlled land routes. And Ferdinand Magellan and Juan Sebastian Elcano around 1519 to 22 completed the first successful circumnavigation navigation of the globe, providing the world's vastness and connectivity of the oceans. So these are the trade route. Oceans connects different continents, and it started our trade in our ancient time and medieval times. And Bartolomeo Dias, that is Portuguese explorer who first rounded the southern tip of Africa, that is Cape of Good Hope, opening the way to the Indian Ocean. And John Cabot 1497 sailed for England and explored the coast of North America. And Amerigo Vespucci, that is explored the South America coast and confirmed it was a new world, North Asia, leading to the continent being named after him. And James Cook, he mapped a large part of Pacific and including New Zealand and Australia eastern coast, like that. Okay, so what are the impacts of discoveries? One is rise of global trade. Okay, so because connectivity are there, the global trade extended, shifted trade dominance from the Mediterranean to the Atlantic, with the spice, gold, silver driving the economy also. And colonization and imperialism, of course, we studied in Indian history British colonization and Portuguese and European nations like Spain, Portugal, Britain, France, Netherlands established massive overseas empires. And one of the example is our Indian colonization. And next is Columbian exchange, widespread transfer of plant, animal, culture, human population, technology, and disease between the Americas and the old world. And scientific advancement is one of the important thing, that is improved cartography, navigation instruments, and shipbuilding techniques, like that. Okay, the fall of Constantinople to the Ottoman Turks in 1453 disrupted traditional spice trade routes, forcing European to find sea alternatives. So Renaissance, in last unit we discussed about rebirth or Renaissance, curiosity, the quest for wealth, and the spread of Christianity also spurred this expedition. Okay, so this is a basic base about the geographical discoveries in world history. So further we will discuss here. So uh, the geographical discoveries of the 15th 16th century constitute an important chapter in the history of the modern world, and it is also known as the age of discovery. So 1516 is the age of discovery, and the new sea route to the east as well as discovery of new continent like America radically transformed the course of history. And the adventurous spirit of the sailors like Bartholomew Diaz, Christopher Columbus, and Ferdinand Magellan ultimately led these historic discoveries. And there are several causes that led to these discoveries. And what are that causes of geographical discoveries? First one, in 1453, the Ottoman Turks captured Constantinople and the important trade route to the east, and thus the Turk began to control the European trade with the east, and they imposed heavy duties on the goods. And on the other hand, the Arab traders continued their trade through the coast of India and got huge profit in spice trade, and therefore the Europeans were forced to find an alternative route to the east. And second is the Renaissance spirit and the conquest. Scientific discoveries were also responsible for geographical discoveries, and the art of shipbuilding developed along with the invention of mariner's compass, and the astronomical and other scientific discoveries raised the hope of the adventurers to explore new sea routes. And next causes is the travel account of Marco Polo and Niccolo Polo about China and India kindled great enthusiasm among the Europeans about the fabulous wealth of eastern countries, and other accounts of the voyages also encouraged explorations. A merchant's handbook describe all non-trade routes between Europe and Far East. Similarly, the secret of the faithful crusader told about Asiatic cities. And other factors such as the spirit of adventure, desire for new lands, and competition for exploration between European nations had also stimulated the explorers venturing into the seas. And first of all, Portugal. The first great wave of expedition was launched by Portugal, and its ruler was Henry, generally known as the Navigator. And as a result, his effort, the Madeira and Azores Island were so please note these islands, okay, in your map, and were discovered. And the main project of Henry the Navigator was the exploration of the west coast of Africa, and his sailors discovered the Cape Verde island. Although Henry died in 1416, his seal provided the stimulus to the Portuguese for further exploration. So this is Henry the Navigator picture. Here is Bartholomew Dias. Okay. And in 1487, Bartholomew Dias reached the southern tip of the Africa and called it the Cape of Storms. Okay, southern tip of Africa. Due to the terrible storm he experienced there, later it was renamed as the Cape of Good Hopes, and because it provided hope that access to the Indian Ocean was possible. So there is one hope. That's why it's Cape of Good Hopes, and before it, the name was the Cape of Storms. And Vasco da Gama successfully used this route and reached India in 1498. And Vasco da Gama's discovery of new sea route in India was a most significant event in the history of Europe and Asia. Okay, so Vasco da Gama from Spain, and the next Portugal, Spain began to explore the sea route to the east. That is Christopher Columbus. This is Columbus, and this is Vasco da Gama. Okay, and a Juno sailor planned to discover a new sea route to the east by traveling westwards after securing monetary assistance from King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella of Spain. And he set sail of August 3, 1492, across the Atlantic, and after a long and difficult voyage, he reached an island of the Bahamas on October 12, 1492. He thought that he had reached the shores of India, and therefore he called the natives of that island Indians, and he made three more voyage and explored the islands in the Caribbean Sea and Central Asia, Central America, and these islands are even today called as the West Indies. Okay, so that is known as West Indies. These all things happened around 14th 1482, 1492, and after 1501, American Vespucci, an Italian navigator. So this is Vespucci. Uh, with the support of the King of Spain, explored the area of South America, and he came to the conclusion that what Columbus discovered was not India but this new world. Therefore, new continent was named as America. Okay, so however, Columbus is considered as the discoverer of America. And in 1493, Pope Alexander Six issued a bull in order to prevent any dispute between Spain and Portugal in exploring new sea route and new lands. This is Magellan. Okay, and it is popularly called as Papal Bull, Order of Pope. That's called Papal Bull. And according to it, imaginary line was drawn dividing the globe into east and west. Spain was given the right to possess the land on the west and Portugal on the east of the Pope's line, and the Spain could not use sea route through the Cape of Good Hope to reach East Indies. So, therefore, the Spain planned to reach the east by sailing westwards. And around August 10, 1519, Ferdinand Magellan had sailed with five Spanish ships, namely Trinidad, San Antonio, and Concepcion, and Victoria, and Santiago from the port of Sevilla. The fleet of Magellan crossed an Ados 373 miles long passage on the southern and end of the South America. This strait is now named as Strait of Magellan. Okay, so that is Strait of Magellan. And then he entered an ocean which was calmer than the Atlantic. Therefore, he named in the Pacific Ocean. It in the Pacific Ocean. While crossing the Pacific, the sailors suffered for want of food and drinking water. And at last, on March 6, 1521, they reached the Philippines, where Magellan was killed by the natives. And the survivor, with the only remaining ship, the Victoria, arrived Sevilla through the Cape of Good Hope on September 9, 1522. It was the first voyage undertaken around the world. Okay, so that is the history of Strait of Magellan and Pacific Ocean. And other geographical discoveries are in 1497 there is John Cabot was sent by Henry of England to explore the seas, and he discovered the Newfoundland in his next expedition. He reached North America and explored it, and but he was not able to find any people there and returned to England disappointed. However, this voyage resulted in the claim of England to the mainland of America, and in 1534, Jacques Cartier from France wandered to North America and explored the region, and he founded the Red Indian settlement and named that region as Canada. This is Jacques Cartier. Okay, and here is one chart. The time period is there. Voyage of Europeans in 1492, Columbus claimed Bahama Island and Cuba for Spain. 1494, the discovered world divided between Portugal. And 1497, John Cabot, Englishman, explored North American coast. And 1498, Vasco da Gama reached Calicut, Kozhikode. And in 1499, that is Amerigo Vespucci sights South American coast. 1522, Magellan circumnavigate the globe, and the Spanish conquered the Philippines on 1571, and 1600 British East India Company formed. Dutch East India Company formed also in 60s. Okay, so this is the voyage by Europeans in the time by time. Okay, so now we will discuss the impact of geographical discoveries. What are the impacts? The geographical discoveries had a profound impact on the economic, political, and social condition in most part of the world. The most important among the first one is there was a tremendous improvement in the trade and industry in Europe. It began to reach beyond the oceans. Okay, worldwide trade happened because of the geographical discoveries, and the expansion of trade provided stimulus to the development of shipbuilding industry, and large quantities of good had to be carried in bigger ships. And as the trade developed in large scale, joint stock companies and banking enterprises emerged. So these all things are connected. Okay, and European companies established their trade centers in Asia, Africa, and Latin America. So banking system companies are established. Trading companies slowly captured political power and established their rule in their respective regions. This led to the colonialism and imperialism. Okay, hope you can connect this all things, right? Because the ancient history to how the modern world created, that's the based on geographical discoveries. Okay, so you just connect that's connection. Okay, first of all, geographical discoveries happened, then this connected all world, and after that there is trade happened. Because of trade, they need ships and all bigger ships, so shipbuilding industry happened. Then stock exchange, because they need medium, right? And banking system needed in between, so banking enterprises emerged. After that, what happened? They need political power, right? And so colonialism and imperialism happened. So next is capitalism had grown in Europe along with the policy of mercantilism. As a result, the colonies were exploited, and the mad rush for new colonies led to mutual rivalry among the European powers and ultimately resulted in wars. And the system of slavery was followed, and the European planters in American imported Negro slave from Africa to work in their plantations. And the geographical discovery solved the problem of overpopulation in Europe, and many Europeans began to settle in the American continent also. And the culture of Europe had spread to Asia, Africa. That is, cultural spread happened in the worldwide. Okay, so this is the impact of geographical discoveries. So this is all about geographical discoveries in world history. So far we discussed in last chapter there is about rebirth or renaissance, and this was about geographical discoveries of world history. And in between any doubts, you can contact us anytime. And for more NCRT, world history, and history series, and other NCRT series, you just do like, share, and subscribe our channel. Thank you so much.